Welcome to the Rebel Radio podcast. This is Long,
Mark, and special guest
Sam,
Lynsie.
From
Why don't you go first?
from the Home on the Strange podcast. Welcome to the show today. we were all just laughing before we started here, trying to figure it out. And,
it's my fault. I'm sorry.
we're high as fuck. No, we're good. No, we're not high.
No, don't do drugs, kids.
High on caffeine.
indeed.
We support marijuana on our show.
We're trying to be family oriented. Fuck. Okay, I'm all
sorry.
sound up. And we're not doing a very family friendly movie today, so that's
no, we're
okay.
not.
But welcome to the show. This is the official beginning. How's everybody been?
Oh, pretty good. Work sucks.
You don't have to tell me.
Peachy.
Peachy. No, it was a good week. We've been really looking forward to coming on. I know we've been planning this for a hot minute.
A few weeks, and
hot minute.
People that don't know, we live in Houston, and Houston's fucking massive. So and you guys live kind of on the other side of the city. That in some cities that might be 20 minutes, but in Houston it's like a long way.
No, we're almost an hour.
One of the satellite cities of Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. Houston's made up of many cities and suburbs.
The Clear Lake Annex. That's right. I dog Clear Lake.
That's fine.
The annex to Houston. No.
But
We got good schools.
glad y'all made the drive. Except this guy, he's too quiet.
Too
Just messing
quiet.
with you, Sam.
Oh,
Give him a beer.
I get it all the time.
Give him a beer and a joint. He'll be down.
I'd say tequila.
I do have beer in the fridge, but
Wait. Take over.
He just leave you hanging.
She is.
But so what is y'all's podcast? Y'all are on the Rebel Radio podcast, and we're doing it's kind of like a crossover, kind of in a way here.
Yeah, we do Home on the Strange. It is paranormal events and the history that surrounds them. So, our last episode was... What was the last episode?
Waco.
Was the Waco Siege and the history that led up to the Waco Siege.
Yeah, we actually we had on Katie Fairweather from Disaster Tales, and so part 1's on our podcast, and then part 2 and 3 are on her podcast.
So is that... I only got to the first 10 minutes and then I got pulled away. Is there a haunting going on?
With Waco?
Yeah.
No. Okay, so, well, I guess, but more like we covered his beliefs and how he rose to power with the Branch Davidians and all of that stuff, and we deep dived. I went to websites I didn't want to go to, and Watchtower.
Yeah.
But we went over their belief systems and what led them to do what they did for Waco. Now, Disaster Tales, they cover disasters. So her podcast has license on the actual siege itself, whereas we covered the more spiritual, what they were kind of doing.
Their belief system.
Yeah.
David Koresh and his system of indoctrinating followers.
Yeah,
Yes.
Vernon Howell. That was his birth name. He changed his name, so that was crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Yeah,
my favorite episode's episode 2. I don't know if y'all have listened to that one. The Houston Batman.
Oh, no.
It's fascinating.
I have it downloaded. I haven't listened to it yet, but I do have it downloaded to listen to.
That's my favorite
I
one.
listened to y'all's the Alien one, the Lights in Lubbock.
Oh, the Lubbock
yeah,
Lights.
that was cool.
Yes.
I like
That's our
that.
last episode.
So you're going with aliens.
I like aliens.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a Marfa Lights episode, too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being sexually exploited by one. I've been 10 years celibate. I'll take anything at this moment. No, I'm joking.
Poor dog.
I mean, as long as they, do the colonoscopy at the same time, that way you don't have to
Two
worry about
birds with
it.
one
I'll
stone.
tell them I don't do pegging.
Okay, see, that might be what. No.
I'll tell my partner, hey, I won't peg you, you won't peg me. Fair? No.
Missing out, but okay.
No, I'm not.
All right. And I did warn on social media that things were going to get weird and groovy on the channel. But so what do you...
But Matt knows.
So you're of course on all apps, right?
Yes.
People can find you anywhere.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
Literally.
Home on the Strange
Except for YouTube.
podcast.
We're not on YouTube.
That's okay.
Yeah. But it's a Home on the Strange podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at HomeStrangePod. Also, if you have any paranormal stories or just some weird shit you want to tell us, just send it on over to homeonthestrangepodcast@gmail.com.
And we've been having some banter a little bit back and forth with y'all on our show, teasing y'all and long throughout that you better bring a ghost story. So we have a ghost story later on the show. We have two on the show. But people have to wait. You have to listen to hear the ghost story.
Did you like my singing improv on Neverending Story?
I had Mark cut it, and we're going to put it in the next episode on our show.
I did cut it. And send it to her.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Long, you're going to be a freaking American Idol superstar.
It's our new intro.
No. Oh, no.
I'm kidding.
Welcome to the Whole Monster Strange podcast.
Hey, if you can get a Frank Sinatra impersonation, I'll take it. I love him.
Oh, shit. Don't put Long up to the challenge. He might take it.
Oh, boy. Lounge lizard time.
Yes.
And, of course, no Matt today. I guess we'd even mention that. He's off
Boo.
on the beach.
Boo, Matt.
So he'll be back next week. And
You're missing out, Matt.
I know.
Missing out.
And that's a kind of Rebel Radio tradition is if one of the guys don't make the show, we've kind of always dogged him. Of course, I've never missed an episode. So, but we do. We've always given him a hard time. And, Long, you haven't missed an episode. Not since
this
you
year.
came on.
No.
Yeah. So we used to dog Frank all the time when he missed the show.
Well, you need
we
a
still dog
perfect
Frank.
attendance award.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I've been trying to get a day off, but he won't let me.
So you know.
No, that's okay. I'm
I'm
it
so
is what it is.
controllable.
I'm the only host that's 100% on our show.
Oh.
And we're only 10 episodes
Look
in,
at that.
so Sam.
Who? What?
No.
You ever heard of the Monsters Among Us podcast? It's a podcast that people call in, voicemail their weird experiences. Yeah,
That sounds
either
interesting.
cryptozoology or ghost encounters or UFO encounters.
Well,
It's pretty cool.
We have one listener. She sent in an email. She's actually got some family history with some of the train robbers out here.
Oh yeah.
Like stagecoach robberies and stuff. She's related to one of them. So we've got that interesting story on our podcast. If y'all come over to us for this coming up Tuesday,
That'd be cool. Train robbers.
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and sneak peek just for your listeners. Next week we're talking about Little Bastard, which is James Dean's killer cursed car. Should be fun.
I didn't even know that. I had heard the name of his car, of course, but I never knew that. Actually, it was considered cursed till you mentioned y'all were doing it. I was like, really? I never heard of that. And,
Yep.
And I knew he had died in the car wreck, of course. I mean, who doesn't know that story and all that? But I didn't know that it was a.
I heard the
considered a
Poltergeist
cursed
trilogy
vehicle.
was cursed.
Oh yeah,
All
I've
the
heard
cast
that.
films,
members
yeah.
suffered in some weird way
Yeah.
for being on those movies.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Just like the Superman actors. It seems like Brandon Routh is the first one that's not had anything happen to him.
Yeah.
The Crow, even the really bad Crow sequels have had bad things happen on the set of the films.
Really?
Like all of them have had something so bad happen. So interesting.
I think the oldest performance art curse is the Macbeth.
Yep.
Like
Oh,
actors.
the Scottish play. You don't
Yeah.
call it Macbeth on stage. It's the Scottish play. Even the
I'm not an
name-
actor, so I can say it.
I'm a theater nerd from school.
Yeah.
Even the name is cursed. You don't say the name. It's the Scottish play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually want to do an episode on that eventually because that's fascinating. And like I said, I'm a theater nerd, so I love Shakespeare. It's pretty cool.
I learned something new. I did not know that.
Yeah, like even Sir Ian McKellen,
Well, I mean,
Patrick
look
Stewart, they will never mention it by name.
at Mel Gibson. Like he was in that movie, and then now he's just
Crazy?
He's Mel
Yeah.
Gibson.
No.
so. I mean, he did it, and now he's whatever.
True.
So
But they also did George Miller even ask Mel Gibson to do Mad Max, or was he always going with a new actor? On Fear Road? I wonder.
Yeah, I think
It was always planned to be a new
yeah.
actor.
I miss Mel Gibson's Australian days.
Because
when
if not,
would
he
stick
could have been
to
the
his
greatest
roots.
action movie of all time. Mel Gibson.
I'm just saying, like I missed him like before he tried to Americanize himself. Honestly, because I liked him better in his early stuff than his later stuff, just because it was more natural feeling. Like everything he's done where he's played an American, like it feels really forced and weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, just because I grew up watching him. You know.
What do you think? Do you think Chris Hemsworth is the same?
No, I've only ever seen him as Thor, really.
How about Russell Crowe?
Gladiator was my first movie with him.
Yeah.
So
My favorite Russell Crowe movie. He's Australian though, isn't he?
yeah.
Yeah. So it's Master and Commander is my favorite.
Yep.
Crow movie.
That one's good. I like a lot of. He was in. He did theater and stuff, right? Like wasn't he in Les Mis?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I like his more because he's a good singer. Like I really liked him in Phantom of the Opera too. No, that wasn't Russell. Yes, that was.
No, the recent Phantom Opera was Gerard Butler.
No, that's who I'm
Gerard
thinking
Butler, are
of.
you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
That's who I'm
One of the more
thinking of.
recent
Gerard
ones.
This is
Butler.
Sparta.
He was with Emily Rossum.
Hell yeah, he was awesome.
Actually, it was a pretty good Phantom of the Opera movie.
Now I look stupid because
yeah.
I thought it was also good. But Gerard Butler, like his theater stuff, because that's where his background's from is theater. So every theater movie he's in is amazing, really good. But again, theater nerd, so
It's okay. It's okay to be nerds of all kinds
I'm one of the weirdos
things.
that's excited for the Cats movie. Okay, because I remember seeing that at 11
That movie looks-
on the stage.
The
You know
trailer
what?
was creepy enough.
I told.
Hey, that's how they're dressed on stage, though. To be fair,
Still weird.
it's cool.
There's so much nudity.
It's not nudity.
If you
cat
think about it, it is.
weird.
Well, it's leotards. It's not nudity.
If you're thinking in the context of them being pure cats and they're not wearing any clothes.
Then every cat's a nudist.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So whatever.
That's my point.
If we were covered in fur, we wouldn't be nude.
I'm frightened now.
I'm just saying. Oh, speaking of nudity, oh man, I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Well,
Let's go.
Let's get into the show then. Where download this, where we tell you what we consumed, watched, took in our brains from geek culture this week. And Sam, Lindsay, y'all start this part of the show.
Mindhunter season 2. I am adoring it. It's just as good as the first season, and I'm a huge true crime nerd. So
Mindhunter, is that on Netflix?
yes.
Oh, okay.
It's on Netflix.
Why is it so good?
Okay, so like, being a true crime nerd, I've seen all the interviews, like the taped interviews that they have with the serial killers that are available. Some of them aren't because they're just old, or they're still in like case files, whatever. But like Ed Kemper, this reason alone, whoever played Ed Kemper in Mindhunter, I mean, he must have just obsessed over researching, because down to the idiosyncrasies of like the way he blinks, the way he leans, the way he talks, the way his face is set, it's exactly like Ed Kemper, like the Ed Kemper. And for me, that kind
Who's
of
Ed Kemper?
Oh, the co-ed killer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
I live in
just
a
Google
bubbly
it.
world. I don't go on my
No,
way.
it's just, it's a lot to explain, but basically he would kill women, and there's a lot of necrophilia involved.
Oh, okay.
So, but I mean, just, I'm a stickler for accuracy, and this show gets everything right,
Wow.
and I love it. I mean, of course it's TV,
Liberties.
so there's some liberties, but I mean, as far as like the killers themselves, they did a fantastic job, and I definitely suggest that show. So, oh, and Glow season 3, that one too, because Glow.
I heard season 3. I mean, I watched the first 2 because I'm a fan of wrestling. But I heard that they took a back seat to about the wrestling aspect of it.
Yeah, they
in
did.
This season.
They did, because like in season 3, spoilers, they're kind
Vegas.
of they're in Vegas, so it's the same repetitive stuff. But they do have some wrestling in there, like when they do the Christmas show.
Oh.
But it is more about character development this season.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I really liked
Okay.
how season 2 they did one episode of an actual, like a Glow episode, pure, from beginning to end. It was just the Glow episode as shown on TV, and then it went back into the backstage drama stuff. That's one of my favorite episodes from season 2.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Sam?
Me? Well, I'd take it musically and say go listen to all the recently released Tool music,
Yes.
because the new album is coming out at the end of the month.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Friday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What is this? I heard that you can't buy it physically unless you had to pre-order it. Are they doing it print on demand? Because I was like just planning on going to Target on Friday and buying it. That was my plan.
I
or
didn't
Best
hear
Buy or
anything
whatever.
about
Yeah,
that.
that's what maybe I read it wrong, because I was like, I haven't bought a CD since Pearl Jam's Lightning Bolt. Nobody buys music anymore.
No.
But I plan on walking in the store and buying this one.
Yeah.
Or at least
so
a
it's like-
vinyl or
yeah.
something.
But yeah, I know they released everything to iTunes.
Yep.
And all that. Yeah.
Yeah, according to Billboard, they're the only artist to hold all top 10 spots for downloads consecutively.
Tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes you wonder, like, if they held off this long on purpose
Possibly.
for that.
Yeah. You know,
something.
I mean,
don't know.
I have almost all their stuff anyway, but you know.
Because, I mean, as much as I love Tool and A Perfect Circle and Pucifer and just Maynard in general, he's a fucking asshole from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Great live. Have you ever seen him live?
No.
Yeah, I've seen him a couple times. 3, I think. And really great live act. You know, especially one year I had bought tickets to the show at the Woodlands, and I didn't really know where the seats were. And I get there, and I'm like, the guy's like, "You're up there," and I'm like 3 rows back. I'm like, "Wow, this is really cool." Like the best seats I've ever had for a concert, being 3 rows back.
Oh, yeah.
And to see him perform that closely, you know, it was really.
I
cool.
went to a Nine Inch Nails concert back when at the Toyota Center.
Lucky.
It was awesome. I didn't know.
Was that when the Astros won the World Series? I was at that show.
No, it wasn't. It was 2009. 2000.
Oh, okay. I didn't make
yeah.
that tour. Yeah.
Yeah, the Northern Lights tour.
Yeah,
I think.
that's the tour I wanted to go to.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, yeah, they're incredible live
It
act.
was kind of funny too. I was telling my ex at that time, I was like, "You should go," because I don't know any Nine Inch Nails song.
Dude,
You know?
I was like, all my high school teen angsty stuff was Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
It's like, that's my second all-time favorite.
I have a very esoteric upbringing when it comes to music.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well, I mean, like mine's varied. Like, I grew up with the, because my mom was stuck, she's still stuck in the 80s. So, like, I grew up with, like, 80s new wave, and then from there, I kind of branched out into punk,
Yeah.
like 70s and 80s punk,
yeah,
which, you know, like, Henry Rollins is a god to me, but,
yeah.
you know, then it kind of devolved into, like, that emo shit, and I can't stand it now, but...
Yeah, I grew up without a radio really, and I had no cable or MTV. So the music that I like to listen to was whatever's playing on the movie. It's like, oh, I like that soundtrack. That sounds pretty cool. So I would listen to soundtracks growing up, and then it would branch out to classical music. And then I saw the Three Tenors. It was like, whoa, that's cool. I saw it on PBS, so I only watched.
You ever heard
know,
of Two Cellos?
Two Cellos?
Or the piano guys?
vaguely. Yeah.
The piano guys are good too.
Yeah.
And Lindsey Sterling,
Uh-huh.
the violinist.
Yeah. And then, you know, with the internet, I started to listen to other stuff too. So, yeah.
God save the internet.
Yeah. I like garbage.
Well,
It's
and
like,
now
ooh, this
the
sounds
internet,
cool.
the internet's changed things too. Where bands just like Nine Inch Nails a few years ago, Trent Reznor just woke up that morning and released an album. That was when The Slip came out. It's like, oh, there's a new Nine Inch Nails album. He just puts it out to the world for you to get right away.
Oh, I
free.
remember
So it's
that
changed
one.
things. And that was
That's
just
back
a few
when I
years
had
ago.
MySpace.
Yeah.
So long
Yeah.
ago.
MySpace. Yeah.
I don't even know if mine's still there. I don't.
I think
It
mine
probably
still
is because
there.
I looked mine up recently. It's still there, but I couldn't access it. I don't remember the passwords or anything.
I don't know.
But I found it. It
I
was
mean,
still
that's
there.
like 10 email addresses.
I remember AT&T released a phone for MySpace apps on there, and then like a month later, my MySpace was sold and done because of Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, but anyways,
Well, I remember when you couldn't have a Facebook if you weren't in college.
Yep.
Like, but
Yeah.
we're showing our age.
Old people. Shoot. Long, what'd you watch this week?
actually, I bought another video game for the PS4. I bought Fist of the North
Oh,
Star.
that's right. The movie we did
Yeah,
last
did you
week.
see the clip yet?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, but what do you mean by the clip being swishy?
Because it was like a lot of.
Oh, that's like I thought you meant the way the
So I
video.
just said the clip is swishy because his hands
Yeah.
are moving.
Yeah, and it's as violent as the cartoon.
Yeah.
But the blood setting was on normal, and apparently when you play it long enough, you'll get the extreme setting. And you saw how bloody the game was
Right.
already. It's like, okay.
What's extreme going to
Because
be?
you see heads explode like melons and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun.
Yeah.
So you heard of the Yakuza games? Mm-hmm. Well, it's made on the same engine as the Yakuza games, and then with the Fist of North Star storyline in it. So there's lots of mini games.
Right.
Pretty good story so far.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I kind of wished it was the original voice actors from the movie.
It's a different actor, yeah.
Yeah. But what else? Just model building.
I didn't really watch much this week either, but last Sunday, perks of being involved with Compalooza, I was given free tickets to the Halo Outpost Discovery at George R. Brown, so I took the boys to that, and I'm not a huge Halo fan. Like, I've played it, I kind of know what it is, but basically they set it up, they have all these life-size models of the Spartans and Master Chief and the Warthogs, and it's like a little museum, and they had like virtual reality, laser tag, you could shoot darts at each other like a dart combat course, arcade set up and consoles, and they had voice actors from Halo there doing panels and things like that. And they had this whole history of the ring from the game. They could walk through and listen to the history, and then they had a dome set up inside George R. Brown, which was like a planetarium type movie that played over the dome, and that was really cool. I mean, tickets for that thing were like $70.
What?
So I kind of felt
crowded?
like, what? No, it was maybe 500 people there.
That's it.
And I was like, wow, all these suckers spent $65. I'm glad I didn't pay it because I don't think it was worth that kind of money. But it was fun for a free event to go check out. And I guess if you're really into Halo, and what I found interesting, you have all these guys that may have paid $65 for tickets, they're just sitting there playing consoles. Like, you couldn't do that at home for free?
Like, don't burn me at the stake or anything, but I never understood like that amount of fandom for one game.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was kind of strange. And it's a small touring convention. It's only hitting like 5 cities. I did buy the exclusive Funko Pop just because I looked online and they're already flipping them for $70, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this will be a good investment. So I was like, I'll buy that.
Honestly, I don't think Halo is that popular anymore.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, I mean, they've been putting...
it got Xbox off the ground, but I think that's about it.
And they keep talking about a TV show or movie that keeps getting delayed, which I think doesn't help its popularity.
Red versus Blue is enough.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's the only thing I know about Halo is Red versus Blue.
Yeah, but I mean, but if you're having a major con like that in Houston, you're only drawing 300 to 500 people a day. I can't imagine it's overly successful.
I didn't even know about it.
I didn't even know about it either until I got the email from Comic Palooza saying, "Hey, we're giving all staff member tickets." I was like, "Okay."
The only games I really play are like Rocket League. I like that one, but I'm not really a gamer unless it's like puzzle games. But I'm sorry, I'm interrupting with some bullshit. But.
I haven't been playing much video games lately. I just took up a new hobby of model kit building. Mm-hmm. So it's been very, not therapeutic, but more meditative.
Midlife crisis.
Right. Well, it's like
Hey, guess what?
I do crochet, but like I don't do it because I'm good at it or anything. It's just the repetitiveness and the attention to detail. It really does. I mean, I'm probably just an old lady for saying this, but it's really relaxing for me because I don't have to think about anything. Yeah. You know, you're just doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
Which is really fun. But yeah, we're old. That's okay.
He turned 40 this year, so I had to give him a hard time about midlife.
Hey, my birthday's in November. I want a walker, guys. But I want like the flames painted on it so I can feel like I go fast.
That's right.
Hey, since you do models, you can do the decals, right?
I just barely started again after a 15-year hiatus, but they are turning out pretty good. The more
I'm
I
excited.
think, yeah.
I want to see them. You need to post them or something.
Oh, I have an Instagram.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll need to set that up for me. I mean, I have Instagram, just, you know.
I've been it posts to Facebook as well, so
I don't have you on Facebook either.
Okay.
Looks like y'all just made buddies.
You know, I'll show you some works after we're done.
Okay, cool.
Well, that's it for Download This. I kind of slacked off this week. I usually watch something, but oldest son started football practice this week, so it's been kind of a busy week to sit down and watch like a movie.
Well, I can give one more suggestion. We have been, me and Sam, we found this new show on Hulu called Harlots that's really good. It's all about whores and prostitutes during 1700s England, late 1700s. It's really fascinating to look at the culture of that. It's really cool. It's a good show.
If Matt's not here, he'd probably be like, "What? Horse?"
Well, actually, sex workers.
I know.
Let me rephrase that. Sex workers from the late 1700s England, London specifically.
There was a time that the Vatican allowed their priests to use sex workers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just had to take a weak shot at Matt there since he's not here.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into today's featured film.
Fuck you, Matt. No.
Hey.
No.
I haven't even met this guy, but damn.
Actually, if Matt was here, he'd probably be quiet. He knows he gets quiet when we have guests on.
Yeah.
Like when Jason was here, he didn't say much.
No. Because if he was quiet, I'd be talking to him.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type, I like to draw the quiet people out, like this one.
When Winter was on the show, he didn't say much. Matt kind of gets quiet when we have other people on
I
the
forget,
show.
this is an audio medium. I was pointing at Sam.
Oh,
this
it's
one.
audio medium. So, you know.
They can't see me pointing, but I'm pointing at Sam.
No, you're not.
Sam's still here? All right. Well, let's get into today's featured film then.
Can I announce it?
Yeah.
An American Werewolf in London.
We should let her summarize it too.
1981, directed by John Landis.
She's quiet now.
Why don't you summarize it, Long?
Yeah, since you
brought
wanna
up
be
the
brave.
suggestion.
Oh, you
Pick
son
on
of a-
me.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll do it. I'm fine. I'll be the guest and do the honors.
Yes.
You want to fight for it?
No.
Let's go.
I'm
Okay,
good.
so basically these two Americans are backpacking through England, which is like pretty common, especially like throughout most of Europe. But anyway, they go to this tavern called the Slaughtered Lamb. And it's really mysterious. They see like, well, they call it a pentangle in the movie, but it's a pentagram, except without the circle thing. But they see that on the wall and they get really iffy and then they get kicked out and then they pretty much get attacked by a werewolf and the friend dies and then he gets infected and then the friend is like the living dead and then it's pretty much... Can I say spoilers on here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
You're summarizing it, so...
Sorry.
It's all good.
He gets turned into a werewolf and then he hooks up with the nurse that was taking care of him and he ends up staying at her flat while, you know, he heals up and stuff because he's having some mental stuff, whatever.
He who? What's his name again?
I forget the character's name.
David.
David?
David, yes,
yeah.
David, sorry. And then the friend's name is...
Jack.
Jack. I keep wanting to say Jeff for some reason. I don't know why.
Haha.
Jeff, yeah. But Jack and David, those are the guys that were backpacking. So Jack is pretty much a living dead person.
Well, he's stuck in limbo.
That's true. Okay, yeah, he's stuck in limbo. And then he's pretty much plagued by Jack as he goes through his transformations as a werewolf and all that stuff. And they eventually have to kill him because he rampages through
Piccadilly Square.
Piccadilly Square, yeah. Or no, Piccadilly Circus.
Circus, thank
Yeah.
you.
And then he ends up dying because they shoot him to death.
Yeah. Not with silver bullets, I don't think.
No, just regular bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you know,
'Cause he
wasted potential right there.
He brings it up in the porno theater though because he's like he asked Jack, he's like, you know, silver bullets, and he's like, dude, what are you talking about? This is real life, you know.
Yeah, okay.
So
Well, that's how they dispelled it.
do you know why they say silver bullets though?
Why?
Because anything silver, like such as a crucifix, like the metal itself, silver, represents purity in a lot of cultures.
Yeah.
So it being pure, if it touches something tainted like that, then it hurts the tainted thing, and that goes for vampires, werewolves, anything.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know the reason why silver was picked.
it's a pure metal, is why.
I see. How about gold?
It's not pure because it's yellow.
Oh,
Like silver's white.
okay.
So, you know, racism. But
Oh, okay.
So when was the first time y'all seen this film?
I actually watched it for the first time the other night when we were planning this. So
Sam?
See, probably like 8th or 9th grade. Been a while.
It's probably for me. I probably saw this back in high school for the first time, and because like rewatching it, I felt like it was a fresh watch. There's things I remember, and there's things I didn't remember. Like I don't remember the movie ending so abruptly. I was like, wow, that's just ends. I don't remember that for some reason. But it's like we're talking pre-show. I think it might have been like one of the other werewolf movies at the time. I might have mixed it up with.
yeah, The Howling
And,
or Silver Bullet or
When was the first time you saw Long?
For some reason, throughout growing up, I've always watched it bits and pieces. And the one part I always run into is the part where they're walking in the field before they were attacked by the werewolf. That's the one scene I always bump into, and I always stay till the end of that scene because it was one of the best werewolf scenes in movie history, personally, because you didn't see the werewolf, you felt the suspense building and building and building, you know, and it just made your imagination run wild. And I finally saw the whole movie probably 10 years ago, finally, you know, from beginning to end, and I really enjoyed it, you know.
Kind of how I felt watching it. Like I always remember like the first hour till he transforms into a werewolf. Then there's like that 20 minutes in the middle I don't ever really remember.
Yeah.
And you remember the end of the film.
From
Kinda how-
between the
when he first turns into a werewolf
Yeah.
till the Piccadilly scene.
Yeah.
I don't remember like most of that. I don't remember retaining it
but
to
that's
watching
one of
it
the
again.
best parts of the movie.
I know. I guess. But you know, the pace changes in the film a little bit. The first
Yeah.
hour is a lot of suspense and build up.
Well, not
and
even.
everything.
It's just really slow.
Yeah,
It's slow.
and then it just sort of starts going after
Yeah.
he turns a werewolf, and I think a lot happens.
It's like
and maybe
a fever dream.
maybe that's why I don't retain it all. Yeah, maybe so. But I think the movie holds up pretty well for almost 40 years old. Even the special effects. A lot's been made about this movie being the first Oscar to ever win for best makeup. A lot of it was done by Baker. Wow,
Yeah.
I can't remember his first name. And
Rob
it's-
Baker?
No,
Yeah.
was it Rob?
Yeah.
It's an R, yeah.
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 And it's still, rewatched it this week, I was like, wow, this is still really, really good for 1981. It's starting to look a little...
Sorry, Rick Baker.
Rick Baker, that's right. It's starting to look a little on the fake side, but it still holds up for the time, because you have to remember in your mind when this was done.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, we were talking, pre-show, The Howling. You like The Howling? That's one of my favorite werewolf movies before I saw this one. And Rick Baker did the effects for that one, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like this one so much. But he got more say so in this one, because in The Howling they made him use those the expanding pack things in the face and stuff. Whereas this one he got to do the actual transformation the way he wanted, with the robotics, with the angles and the bone structure. And I was reading somewhere, he actually had drawings of dog anatomy and human anatomy, and was making notes and okay, this needs to move here, and comparing and contrasting and figuring out how he needed to do it. He did a lot of research for this movie.
Wow.
Gotta give it to him.
And he did a really good job. Even though you said the effects were starting to get dated, I still think that it does a really good job of making it feel like it looks like a painful process turning into a werewolf still to this day.
I was cringing the whole time.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's your first time seeing it? Wow.
No, I mean, and they're dated, but they hold up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could really feel the pain of the character.
That's amazing that you even avoided all these years even seeing the transformation scene, even on a clip show or something.
It's not that I've avoided it. I'm just I grew up very sheltered, so I've only been able to see certain movies, and then as an adult I'll admit I'm pretty snobbish, but not that I've avoided it. I just never knew enough about it to want to watch it until this. But my friend Jason, we're both super into horror movies, and he's been really opening me up into more of the stuff that I haven't seen that I should see, classics. I think we watched The Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time a couple weeks ago, because I'm that far behind. But I'm really seeing this for the first time. You can tell it's an 80s movie because it's just the way it is. But I mean, I liked it enough, even for it being this old, that we're about to be buying the Arrow release for it. Yeah. So, I mean, it really holds up. I enjoyed it immensely.
There's some humor. It's
kind of got a dark comedy to it, because this is directed by John Landis, who did Animal House and no, he didn't do Caddyshack. What was the other comedy he did at the time? He did Animal House and something else that he was real known for. Might have been Blues Brothers. He might have been Caddyshack also. He might have done. Yeah. He was really known for that 80s comedy genre, and this was a much darker film, but it has a dark comedy to it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like when they were figuring out how to build the film, they were like, well, it's too scary to be a comedy, but it's too funny to be a horror. So they were having a hard time, and I'm really glad they settled on horror, because that's where it really belongs in my opinion. Because horror can be funny,
And they almost cast the studio really wanted Belushi and Dan Aykroyd in this film.
Oh, really?
And John Landis fought against it. He's like, no, I want unknowns. They're too popular for this. He felt that the story was good enough to stand on its own without bringing actors that had to sell the film, that he felt that it could sell itself through storytelling and through the special effects, and which it did. It wasn't a hugely successful film, but it was a moderately successful enough, and it found more success over the years, especially after it won the Oscar. And back then,
it's cult status.
Yeah, and back then movies played in theaters for 6 to 9 months, not 60 days like they do now.
The one thing though that a lot of fans or horror fans have said, mainstream horror fans have said, is that the American Werewolf in London is the benchmark movie for werewolf movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what's so funny is it's but it's
I
also
can see why.
it's also such a parallel story to the original Lon Chaney Wolfman. I mean, it's a lot of the very similarities to that movie, where he thinks he's going crazy, he's not sure what's going on.
Pentangle.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, it almost runs parallel with that story, and they even mention the Wolfman in this movie.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the whole movie?
Several times.
And all the way to the end. The movie ends abruptly at the end of the Wolfman. We see Chaney's character shot, and this is the same thing, and it goes to credits. A lot of I was amazed rewatching it, because I've just watched The Wolfman recently, how many similarities there were to that film.
What prompted you to watch that old black and white movie?
I love the Universal
You don't
classic
like
movies.
black and white movies, though?
What?
You don't like black and white movies?
I love black and white
then why
movies.
are you asking the question like that?
I love the Universal classics. Like the Wolfman is probably my favorite.
No,
one of the Universal classics.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, because my favorite movies are, like, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, because I have that crap all over my house.
Yeah.
And Wolfman's a close third.
Yeah.
And then there's the Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is my all-time favorite Universal monster, but story, I like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like Wolfman, specifically the transformation scene.
I loved watching those as a kid.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
No,
you know?
but, like, Lon Chaney, like, this is where I compare the two, is, like, Lon Chaney's Wolfman, they go into detail with the transformation for the time, right? Like, it was groundbreaking for the time. And that this movie broke ground again and won the very first makeup and effects award that was, I mean, it was basically made for this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, but I really enjoyed it, and like with the Lon Chaney references, like I asked Sam when we were watching it, I was like, that's talking about Wolfman, or like, you know, like this was in Wolfman, and they're pulling a lot from this, which pulled from a lot of traditional werewolf lore, which was really cool. I appreciated that because we do history, but and paranormal stuff.
Yeah, and John Landis, I guess, was recently working on a remaster of the film a few years ago and forgot how gory the movie was. He's like, but it's his favorite movie at the same time, but he hadn't watched it in a long time, and he's like, wow, this is really gory. And it is kind of gross when, like, Jack's talking to him, there's stuff hanging off his neck, and I couldn't help but kept looking at it. Like, my eyes were drawn to this stuff hanging. I'm like, that's kind of gross.
I thought the weirdest scene in the movie was when they were sitting in the portal theater.
Yeah, and he's talking to him.
Well, like,
And then it cuts to the movie that's playing, and the dude walks in on the two couples banging each other. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, okay." And he's like,
well, they're like, wrong. I don't know you. And he's like, oh.
That made me laugh so hard.
But no, like with Jack's character, when he's in the hospital room, when you see him for the first time and he's eating the toast, they originally wanted the toast to fall out of his neck, but it would have cost them the R rating and the X rating, so they had to cut it. But
Wow.
but I thought that should have stayed. They should have put that in for the like remastered one.
Right.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
But I'm a gore hound, so.
Right. But I think the movie is really cool. There's been a lot of talks about him remaking this several times, and John Landis has kind of fought against it. He's like, no, it doesn't need to be done. And I think
There's no way.
I mean, you nowadays they would CGI everything.
Yep.
The Piccadilly Circus scene would be this huge giant action fest where the wolf is jumping everywhere. You could just see what they would do in modern Hollywood.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have that suspense. Rick Baker was a little upset that he did all this effects work to make this wolf look really cool, and then Landis shot it almost all in shadow and through people's legs, where you never really got a really good look at the wolf unless you paused your screen. So Baker was a little upset about that until he sat and watched the film with the audience. When the audience applauded the film, he's like, okay, well, I guess it's good then, because he wasn't real happy at first.
I can relate.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I felt the same thing. I was like, I really want to see the wolf more. They don't really show him.
Well, to be fair, when she corners him in the alley, you get a really good
that's
look
probably
at
at the end of the film.
So,
And
Here's a stick. Here's a stick. Okay, fetch.
and that's probably the other part of the film that's a little, maybe story-wise, a little weak. We were talking a little bit pre-show. Is like the girlfriend and the doctor are just sort of there. They drive the plot, but not really.
Well, the doctor gets more
the doctor
credit
gets
than
more
the
than the girl,
girlfriend.
because he at least goes back to the town and realizes that Jack's not crazy. That he puts together the story. That's really his only purpose in the movie. It's just like, I don't know, that part just felt a little forced in the film. You know, that stuff. Like, there was no reason for the girlfriend in the movie at all,
for
other
me,
than him have a
like,
place to stay in England.
For me, like, Jack got a bunch of character development for really a minor part in the movie, whereas the girlfriend had, like, this huge part, but they did almost
There's
no
nothing with
character
her.
development.
Yeah.
And, like, she's literally just there for him to be having sex and for him to have a place to stay. That's it. And I hate that, because she could have been like this huge driving force for the story, more than Jack, but they gave Jack all the character development.
And then Jack is just sort of there, and they kind of, it's a throwaway line that he's stuck in limbo, and David needs to kill himself to stop it. But there's no real, like, and not that I need supernatural stuff to be explained, but it's like, okay, why is David able to see him? And it's just really, but he doesn't see any other dead people until,
Right.
but they kind of explain that when he sees the other dead guy killed at the end. But it's still kind of like a little bizarre. They take some liberties with the storytelling there.
Well, see, and, like, the other thing is, like, werewolf lore. Like, I've never once, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, but I've never once come across werewolf lore where like the victims follow them around or they're
Right.
the living dead. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen that. Like that didn't make any sense. And the only reason I can see that is they spent so much time on character development in the beginning. They felt like this need to have him in the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
and I hate that. But
Yeah. Yeah, it could be one of those things whoever wrote this thought, like, hey, I'm going to try
And Jack
something
wasn't
different.
even killed by David.
Right.
Yeah. So, why is he following David?
well,
David's the
because they
victim
were
too.
attacked at the same time, maybe.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
They were holding hands while they were being attacked. I don't know.
wouldn't it tie in because Jack was attacked or transformed because of the
well,
werewolf?
Right.
David was transformed. Jack was.
Oh, right. David was transformed by the lichen that killed Jack,
Yeah.
which carries on that bloodline.
True, because the original werewolf was killed.
Right.
So he's the continuation of that bloodline.
That's true.
So-
So, yeah. So, I guess maybe they were trying to add some new stuff to the werewolf lore that hadn't been done before. Mm-hmm. But yeah, with some new stuff. Like I always thought silver bullets worked. They just sort through that. Like, no, you don't need that. You shoot them regular.
I did like the nod to the Grimm brothers because his red puffy jacket's like a nod at Red Riding Hood
Oh, yeah.
with the wolf.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I really liked that. That was kind of neat little Easter egg.
Another legacy of this movie is Michael Jackson saw this movie
Yeah.
Yes.
and hired John Landis to direct the Thriller.
Yep.
The groundbreaking music video that all of us 80s kids grew up watching
My
and getting scared
my
of.
10-year-old child knows the Thriller dance. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's lived on. It will continue to live on.
Yeah.
But she's a huge Michael Jackson fan. So
Yeah, and most of those other horror movies in the 80s or werewolf movies all came out after this, didn't they? The Howling and
Silver
Bullet. And so I think a lot of those were probably... There was a little flair there of werewolf films.
Did you guys ever watch that Jack Nicholson Wolf movie?
Oh,
No.
Wolfen?
no,
It was
it's just called Wolf with Jack
No.
Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson played the werewolf.
Yeah.
And who was the love interest? Was it Michelle Pfeiffer?
It might have been Pfeiffer, yeah.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen The Terror with Jack Nicholson? He's like in his 20s in that movie. It's weird.
Is it
See him
a
as a young
documentary?
person. No, it's a movie.
Oh.
Like movie. But like it's just weird seeing him that young.
Oh, yeah. I remember the first Jack Nicholson movie I saw was Little Shop of Horrors, the original black and white one.
I love that movie. And I like the one.
See, I like
the,
black and white movies.
I like the remake too though. I thought they did a really good job on the remake.
Favorite scene in this movie?
The field. Bar
Beginning.
none. Yeah.
You know, like that sound that the wolf's making for that scene, it's like 15 different things, like a locomotive, wolves, like all kinds of lion roaring. Like,
Oh.
kind of like how they did for the T-Rex.
It's quite frightening sounding.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very, because like the goal is for the audience to not recognize what it is.
Right.
They wanted to offset that, like they wanted to get the audience off kilter for that. So
Yeah,
that was
I
good.
just love how drawn out that scene is and how it slowly builds that
Oh,
suspense.
it's in front of us. It's in front of us again.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay,
And then
let's run this
the
way.
fact- and then they see it.
It's circling us.
But
yeah.
the audience doesn't see it. So you're getting the
No.
terror through their eyes.
And like
Yeah.
then that shot where it zooms in on their face and then turns with them when they turn around, like that. I'm a huge cinematography buff, and that to me was a
Yeah.
really good shot. I
Yeah.
like that one.
My favorite scene in the whole movie, bar none. My favorite werewolf scene, too, in my personal viewing
Yeah.
of movies. For sure.
Well, I don't have a favorite scene. I thought it was just a great movie, but my least favorite scene that I thought they should have just cut from the movie was the weird Nazi wolves nightmare scene. Like that really did nothing
Oh,
for me.
yeah. That
did
was
nothing
bizarre.
for me.
If you're going to say the shower scene, I was
It
like,
just
we're going to
confused
fight.
me.
No, I'm joking.
No,
Yeah.
it just confused me that
Yeah.
because that's like every time I've tried to watch the movie or caught clips of it, like that's the part I always saw, and I'm like, this movie.
I did too
doesn't-
think that dream sequence was a little bizarre. I was
It,
like,
it
what?
didn't need to be in there.
Yeah.
No,
like
it
you
was
could,
weird.
like the like when he's running through the woods naked, which I'll give another tidbit about that too, because nudity. I always know about nudity. With him running naked through the woods, like you get that part because that's the wolf
Right.
fighting his human, whatever. But the Nazi, like that did not need to be in there. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't flow with any of the story. It's just gore porn and like creature feature.
Yeah.
Now, like what I was gonna say about the nudity is that the character is Jewish, very
Right.
obviously. Jack and David are Jewish. Well, the actor was not circumcised, so the reason they never show peen is because he's not circumcised and it wouldn't go with his character. But
And then he had to be naked in a real wolf cage in the zoo,
Yes.
which they shot in one take because the actor who played David was like, I'm not doing it
no,
again.
I wouldn't either.
It's like-
I wouldn't go in there. Oh, and the lady he runs into at the zoo, what they told her was like, some guy's gonna jump out and he's gonna say something and you need to react. And she's like, okay. They didn't tell her he was gonna be naked, so that was a complete surprise for her that he was naked.
That's hilarious. And strangely, this movie was shot in sequence, which is still
amazing.
Even today's films, that's rare for any director to film in sequence. They film it usually based on budgets and locations, and but yeah, this movie was shot in sequence, which is probably even rarer back in the 1980s, I would think.
Oh,
you know, than it is now.
So Sam, what was your favorite scene?
The Piccadilly Circus scene.
Oh yeah, the beheading.
Yes.
It does have a really good, intense finale, this movie.
Yeah.
Even though it ends kind of quick, it's still...
You know, like, John Landis is in that scene. He makes a cameo.
Yeah.
The guy that falls through the window is John Landis.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bearded. You know,
Yeah.
80s stuff.
Yeah, I like the end of the film, too. The Piccadilly scene, I think, worked really well for me. Even though I complained about not seeing the wolf a lot, I still think it's really well shot. Because it gives a sense of terror and dread as these people are running from something that's going on.
It's like that manic, like, how it would feel if you were there. Like, you just get glimpses. You don't get to stand there and watch the wolf, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's that chaos. It's that being on your feet kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a well-shot film. I would give it that, for sure.
John Landis has some horror chops. I really wish he would have done more for
Yeah.
horror. I think he would have made a lot of more
I
good
wonder what he's
movies.
up to now, because he hasn't really directed anything since the 80s, huh?
It's been a while. He might be semi-retired.
Yeah.
From,
His son Max Landis, though. Oh.
Well, Max Landis was talking about doing something with Werewolf in London, but I haven't heard anything besides rumor about him being entertained by the idea.
Yeah.
So
He did write some really good Superman stories.
he hasn't directed since he did some television in 2012.
oh shit, he did Three Amigos. I didn't realize that. That's my kid's favorite movie.
Yeah.
She loves that movie.
That's cool.
At the moment, at least.
Yeah, at the moment.
He did some of the He did a couple episodes of Masters of Horror on Showtime. So he did some.
Oh,
in
okay.
2005.
Well, because he's a master of horror. This movie made him a master of horror.
Yeah.
So
His last widely popular movie would have been Blues Brothers 2000 in 1998. Even that wasn't super popular. That might be the
I've
last.
never heard of
yeah.
it.
His last feature.
Well, his last feature was some movie called Burke and Hare. I've never heard of it.
Oh,
yeah. That was a good one.
A black comedy.
What year did that came out?
2010.
Oh.
So yeah.
The year
Wow.
my kid was born.
So he must be semi-retired then if he hasn't done anything since 2012.
Wait, wasn't that one the one with Simon Pegg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the grave robbers in England at the time. They would
Oh,
sell.
okay.
They would go rob graves and then sell them to
Universities.
for like teaching physicians and surgeons and stuff. And they ended up running out of bodies to steal, so they started murdering people. And then
Wow.
then they got caught and hung. So.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Understandably.
Yeah. But it's a great movie. I definitely suggest it. Y'all need
Yeah.
to watch that one.
I hadn't heard of it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
if y'all want to do that one, we'll come back.
So, how out of your own personal scoring system, I do it by letter grade. You can do it by numbers, but for me, I give this movie probably a B plus, A minus. As far
A
as-
plus for me, but
Yeah.
I'm a huge horror nerd, so
Yeah.
I give it a solid B.
solid B.
Yep.
What is wrong with you?
B's
A
still
lot.
I
good.
know where you live.
I know where you sleep.
I'd probably give it a B plus. I think I appreciate it for what it is. I think it's a classic in the genre, and the special effects I think are remarkably well done. I think that the middle of the film bogs it down a little bit for me. That keeps it from getting to that A.
Well, you know,
level.
y'all are giving it this
You
low
know.
rating. I feel like
It's not a low rating.
No.
I think the beginning and the
I
end are
have
great.
the highest rating,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna justify that. So not only did this director not normally do horror, he excelled at it on the one movie he did. Okay, his first time, which is
Yeah.
very rare with directors. Then he gets one of the best freaking effects people. Okay, and for his first horror movie, for it to win an Academy Award is a big deal. Horror never wins those.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's where I'm getting my standing. Is
Yeah.
he broke like all these barriers that
Yeah.
he had for this movie. So
Oh, that's
That's just
good.
me.
That's cool. Like your justification.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Have you ever seen that movie, What We Do in Shadows?
yes, dude, that's like one of my favorite. I haven't seen this show yet, but heard disappointing things about it.
Really?
So,
I heard a
yeah.
lot of people who've never seen the movie like the TV show.
See, I've
Yeah,
never
'cause
seen the
they-
movie, and
they
I tried
haven't
watching the show. I didn't get it. The show,
They
it's
haven't
like
seen the movie is why they like it. Because, like, if you see the movie, like, it's shot like a documentary. And my friend Jason and I both love this movie. And he tried to watch the show, and he's like, don't bother. But, I mean, of course, I'm going to give it a shot by myself. But he's told me, like, it's not anywhere near what you would want it to be.
Yeah.
I tried. I haven't seen the movie. I tried watching the show, and like I didn't like get.
See the
It's supposed
movie.
to be funny, but like
See
I
the
didn't
movie.
understand why it was funny. Like it's weird.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know.
Your Halloween show, that's the movie we're going to do. And we're going to come back for that. Because it's
Yeah,
going to
While
be
we
super
do in the
fun.
shadows?
Yes.
It was,
Yeah.
it was
We're doing
bizarre.
that for Halloween. Just to let y'all know.
Okay.
We're
Book
coming
it,
back.
Dano.
That movie's amazing.
I brought that up because of the scene where the vampires meet the werewolves.
Yes!
And then, like, so there's a gang thing rivalry going on.
Yep.
So,
It's kind of a play on Underworld, but
right,
yeah.
right. So one of the werewolves like, we're alphas, don't even mess with this. Is our territory. And then one of the vampires is like, oh, you're alphas, huh? One of them grabs a stick and throws it, and one of the werewolves chased after it.
It's really funny.
And then the alpha wolf is like, I can't believe you fell for that. That's like the oldest thing. And then one of them started swearing, and it's like, wait, stop. Where are we? We're werewolves, not swearwolves.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic movie.
It's directed by the same guy who did
Taika Waititi.
yeah, Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I know he directed it. So yeah.
No, we're doing that for Halloween, y'all.
Oh,
Plan
sure.
it.
For real.
Book it in your agendas. No, pull your calendar
Jermaine
up.
Clement is
pull
awesome.
your calendar up
I
and put it in.
think I have a secret man crush on Jermaine Clement.
Oh, man. Dude.
I don't know why.
I've got so many crushes on so many famous people. Like, Sam's favorite's like Eva Green, right? That's your hall pass, yeah. Mine's
Yep.
Idris Elba, but
I give props on Evergreen. Yeah.
Ava Green.
Yeah.
she's hot.
She's very
I told him, I was like, if you ever get a chance, you have to share,
Why? You're not going to share Idris, so...
Well, I would if you wanted to, but
Okay.
you don't swing that way.
Good point.
I swing both ways hard, so...
There are personal boundaries he might be willing to explore.
Hey, if it's Idris Elba, I think everybody knows that man is damn sexy. I don't care how straight you are. Like, seriously. But no, okay, so, this movie, one thing, okay, so what surprised y'all about this movie? Anything surprising that, like, you normally don't like in a movie that you liked in this one? Or something that you thought was crappy that you used to think was good, or what? I'm gonna ask a hard question here.
I was surprised rewatching, like I said earlier, just how much it paralleled the original Wolfman from the 1930s.
I like how rewatchable this movie
Yeah.
is.
Yes!
Yeah, it's very rewatchable.
So, like, I'm not a huge fan of 80s movies. Like I said, I'm kind of snobby with my movies. But I'm surprised at how much I actually really liked this movie. And I'm surprised at myself for not having seen it sooner. So.
And all the music in the movie had the word moon in the songs.
Yes!
Thought that was I didn't know that.
And what's
That's
funny
cool.
is, like, they could have used the song Werewolves of London, or Wolves of London, or what, Werewolves of London, whatever
Yes.
that song was.
Warren
And they
Zevon.
just
Yeah.
never thought of it.
I think either that or it was too tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
No, I think it was just they didn't think of it. Because
Well,
John
again-
Landis said in an interview, he's like, I don't know why we didn't use it.
Well, even Bad Moon Rising during the transformation scene's kind of tongue in cheek.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that song is so good. The whole movie, I'm just singing along with everything. I was
Yeah.
surprised at how good the soundtrack was. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
I think biggest surprise is just it does hold up really well. It's still a good film 40 years later.
Very rewatchable.
Like, it grossed me out, and that never happens with movies anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's like something like Human Centipede, but that's supposed to be gross like that, you know?
Yeah.
But the transformation seemed like I was honestly cringing and like, ugh, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
I think, another thing, the 80s was the last time that really a lot of major movie studios, actually invested into horror movies back then,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
now it's just like quick bucks, everybody goes to see the horror movie.
Yeah.
You know? So they don't put too much time into it like they
Yeah.
used to.
Gosh, I remember I was like, another Paranormal Activity sequel? But did you like those?
I liked the first two.
The
After
first
that,
two?
it was like, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Saw 25. Or,
Because, like, I was pregnant when the first one came out, and so I was all hormonal, and I watched that, and I was so scared I cried. But I was hormonal, so I don't know if that was that or the movie.
yeah.
So what about you, Sam? What surprised you about the movie?
The usefulness of the nurse's Nightingale syndrome. wanting to save David.
True.
Oh yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of it that way. Good
Yep.
one. Let's go to
See
nurse.
see how many layers this movie has.
Psychiatric nurse.
Layers.
This movie has so many little surprises you don't consider,
I just hate that she has no autonomy in this movie. I really hate
except for
that.
her Nightingale syndrome.
No. But I mean, for the time,
Yeah.
you got to kind of give it that because no females had autonomy
Yeah.
in the 80s. So
That's, yeah, and we come to an age where I think we've had this come up on the show before, where we've had a character that didn't have that kind of role, and these '80s
Good
movies,
going.
some of these older movies get a pass, I guess, on those kind of things. You know, I think we were talking about when we did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They used the word "faggot" is in that movie like 3 or 4 times,
Right.
and it gets a pass because of the time it was made. Does it make it right? No,
Nope.
but it's just you have to kind of move on and just accept. Okay, this was made at a different time.
I wouldn't really
Yeah.
say it's a pass. I'd say they're more learning experiences.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
this
Yeah, that's a
is-
good way. to put
This
it.
is like how it used to be, and this is no longer acceptable. So we need to
Right.
change.
So now, if they were to make American Werewolf in London today, you would hope that they would give the female character a much stronger role. You know,
more
I
than
think.
Jack
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. You know, that might be a way they would twist it. They would do it where
Maybe two
him and
women.
his- or him and
two
his-
women.
either 2 women, or him and his wife gets killed, and she appears to him, and you have to save my wife. You know, you have to do this for me. They would do it something like that. I think. They would
Or
change
you know,
it.
you can just completely change it around. The husband gets killed, and the wife is
Yeah.
the main character.
becomes a werewolf or
that.
something. Yeah.
Because, like, okay, here's my thing. I'm not one of those people that's gonna diss and not want any kind of remake. Like, don't get me wrong. I love a good remake, especially when it's like updated and more.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's been some really good ones, like
more
the Planet of the Apes
palatable.
films and things like that. Yeah.
Right, but like, I mean, this one, that's the biggest issue in this movie,
Yeah.
is that. And for that to be the only major issue, I mean, this movie holds up surprisingly well. We're not ready for a remake for this
No.
one yet. Unless
Yeah.
something big happens, but,
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, Planet of the Apes needed a remake because of the different cultural understandings from when those movies were made.
No.
You know, and like, because they talked a lot about racism in those movies and
Right.
things like that, you know, and we needed that remake to kind of bring that issue back up because it was culturally what was happening. Horror specifically, and I talk about this all the time, horror specifically is all about politics. Like, it's always politically aligned because there's always some kind of fear or like cultural relevance to them at the time. And Werewolf in London, this one isn't ready for remake yet because it doesn't tackle any issues that we're going
Right.
over right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Good
like,
point.
because like Hereditary, that goes over like family trauma and people kind of going through that thing, which is getting more cultural relevance because like people are realizing just because they're family doesn't mean you need to have them around, you know. And like The Witch, like that's all about feminism and autonomy, and that needed to be done. And I mean, there's always some kind of relevance to these movies, and Werewolf in London just it isn't its time yet. So
Good point.
Another one would be the new Child's Play.
yes,
involving technology.
updated about how technology isn't always your best friend. You know, want to play?
Especially in the form of a doll.
Yeah.
I hate dolls.
Chucky
Dude,
scares me.
one of the creepiest things growing up, my cousin used to collect marionettes,
Oh.
and that was.
Oh no.
I hated staying the night at her house because like she had these shelves around the top of the, you know, like those shelves that are just under the ceiling, like
Yeah.
big enough for something. She'd have them all lined up there, so they're like staring down at you, and it was
fuck no.
horrifying.
Oh fuck no.
It was bad.
Yeah, no. I can't even back. Could you sleep in that room? They're up there staring at me like, oh no.
Great segue, by the way.
Oh, is it ghost story time?
No, not yet.
Oh,
Almost.
So, so I guess we'll
Get to the news.
Let's do some news. I think we've
Like a
said
machine
what we
gun.
can say
Bam,
about
bam,
it.
bam, bam.
We'll start out with some slow news. Man, Kevin Smith is going to do a He-Man series on Netflix. It's called Masters of the Universe Revelations. And it takes place after the 80s classic series.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be Kevin Smith, Mark Bernardin, who does his Fat Man Beyond with him.
I'm looking forward to
and
this
several
writing.
writers. It's going to be animated by the people who do the Castlevania animation.
Oh.
This is really cool idea. Kevin Smith had announced earlier this year that he was working on a massive IP that was super popular and adored by fans. People were guessing left and right what it was. Did he finally get his Buckaroo Banzai rights? You know, no one really knew what it was, and I don't think anyone saw He-Man coming.
No.
And I knew Kevin was kind of a He-Man fan, but I didn't know he was this big of a fan. But apparently knows his He-Man lore pretty good, man. And and if Netflix is announcing this now, it must not be too far away. Netflix generally doesn't announce things too far out, so maybe 3 to 4 months. Because I know when they announced Castlevania, we got that within 6 months. They finally released it.
Yeah.
So,
Oddly enough, that's my dad's middle name. He-Man.
Really?
He-Man.
He-Man.
We always call him He-Man.
But I'm looking forward to that. Kevin Smith and He-Man. Fuck yeah.
What was your dad's reaction when the TV series came out?
Oh, I'm not sure.
No?
That was before me.
Oh,
so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're old, but not that old.
That's awesome. He-Man.
Damn hoodlums.
So they're going to make a 4th Matrix film.
Yes.
They announced this week that Lana Wachowski is going to direct it. So I guess her sister's not going to be involved with it like they were when they were brothers and they made the first films.
Are they both now women?
They're both now trans, yeah, I believe so.
I didn't know that.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so, I when I first heard this news the other day, I was kind of like, yeah, do we really need another Matrix? But at the same time, Keanu Reeves has had such a huge career comeback with the excellent John Wick films. I'm kind of down for this. I'm like, why not?
He's never not.
Nothing. Yeah, I wouldn't say a comeback. That's true. He's had a lot of success lately. Yeah, it's a better
Well,
word.
he had a quiet period, and now he's back.
And
in
I want him to kind of come back to the roots of the first one with this. Kind of make a good sci-fi film, because the second and third one's kind of like got into all the there's a lot of exposition and just like, okay, what are you talking about now? And they had great action sequences, but the stories weren't that great in the sequels.
Right.
So maybe bring this back around to how the first one
I
made
like
it
the
work.
sequels fine. I don't know why people were dogging on them.
I like them all.
I
even like the anime.
I do like the third one. I like everyone dogs the third one. I like the third one more than the second one.
Yeah.
Because man, the fight scene in the city at the end is badass.
Yeah, I also love the defense of the city too against all the squids, the machine squids. That's a cool scene.
The only thing I did not appreciate about it was the whole religious overtones to it. That's the only thing for me. But that's just because I'm a dogged atheist. But that was the only part that was kind of uncomfortable for me, because like I grew up Baptist, so like we were very much like church, Christ, all that kind of stuff. And watching those movies, it was hard to kind of separate that from like enjoying it. I don't know. I'm probably just talking out my ass right now,
but I guess they're 22. I think is the plan. It's about 3 years away to get in Matrix 4. So
that's
be cool.
long time.
Yeah, Keanu's like 54. He's older than.
They're gonna wait till he's 60 to do it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but, him and Tom Cruise are part of the Illuminati. That's why they look so good in their 50s.
God.
They have Dorian Gray. They have Dorian Gray portraits of themselves.
I love that story.
That's what Elijah Wood said on Twitter. It's like, hey, some dude on Twitter said, hey man, how come you look so young? And Elijah Wood says, because I have a Dorian Gray portrait of myself.
I need one. Where do I get one? Can I have one, please? Oh.
So Spider-Man, he's not rented. Sony and Disney had a deal where they were able to use Spider-Man in the MCU, and the deal expired. And so now a lot of conflicting reports this week. One is that Disney and Sony don't have a deal. Now there's reports that there still might be a deal in place and it might happen. I think this is one of those situations where Disney and Sony, I think that they've got to... Come on, Sony. Really?
They finally got Spider-Man right.
They got it
right.
right.
Take him away now.
And I don't get me wrong. I don't blame Sony for playing hardball. The ball's in their court. They can do whatever they want. They can make Disney bow before them if Disney really wants this.
That would be cool.
But at the same time,
power play.
I do think that Sony's going to give in and Disney's going to give in, and I think they understand the fans want this. They're going to make it work.
Y'all.
Yeah, I mean, and Disney wants more money because they were financing these films, but they were only getting so much money from them. Sony was profiting quite a bit from what Disney did for them.
Well, no. The deal is Sony is the one that was footing the bill for making the movies. Disney was only going to getting 10% of the movies of the profit, while Sony kept 90%. And Disney was allowed to use Spider-Man in the MCU. That was the deal.
Yeah.
And then Disney wants 50% of the profits off of what Sony is making. Yeah. So Sony's like, well, wait a minute. It's like, you guys are just borrowing off the character.
Right.
We made the movies.
It doesn't make sense because Spider-Man's Marvel. They need to just buy it.
Yeah.
Right. But that's James Cameron's fault, by the way. James Cameron
Fuck you,
was
James
making
Cameron.
that movie, and then for some reason it was pulled right under the rug from him. So he sued Marvel
if
Studios.
Sony pulls Spider-Man now, that's gonna be the biggest mistake they ever made.
Yeah,
I promise.
But Cameron's lawsuit against Marvel Entertainment
'Cause
back then
what's that kid's
was
name,
why they
Tom?
sold the rights to Sony and Fox.
What's that kid's name that plays in
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He is like what Spider-Man needs to be right now because
Yeah.
they failed miserably with what's his name? Who are the
Toby Maguire.
No,
hate him.
Toby. No.
No, they failed with him because
Not Spider-Man 2 was an awesome movie. You can't
Yes.
deny that. It's like it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a great superhero
Spider-Man 2 is
movie.
really good.
no.
Toby,
And I'm not a
Toby
Spider-Man fan by any means.
I always
but
did feel Toby was a little
objectively
old, but I do think Spider-Man 2 is really good.
Yeah, it's a
But, I
superhero
mean,
movie. It's a
y'all
great
aren't-
movie.
Y'all aren't arguing that Tom Holland is like the Spider-Man.
Oh, no, I agree that Tom Holland, I think, is the best Spider-Man.
Plus, he's adorable. Like, have you seen his umbrella dance for when he did lip sync battle? That was cute. I'm not gonna get too far into that because I'll go off
But
track.
hopefully cooler heads prevail, though, and Disney and Sony come to a deal and it works out for the fans, because especially the way Far From Home ended, it's like, come on.
Like,
You can't leave us hanging like that.
Here's my thing is like, as much as I want to see Disney eat shit, Sony's a dumbass if they're just gonna take it away from Disney at this point. That's just me. I want Disney to eat shit though, because they're a monopoly at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But how about the Kit Harington potentially
I
being
saw
Wolverine?
that. Well, no, didn't they announce today at D23? I think he's going to be in the Eternals movie. So
Oh.
that's what he was working
Yeah.
with MCU. Yeah, he's going to be in the Eternals.
Okay, I can
yeah.
get behind that.
Yeah.
Wolverine,
Sony's
not
making
so much.
Mobius, the night vampire.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you were right. There was all kinds of rumors that Kit Harington was coming in and
He's a
gonna
Spider-Man character.
play Wolverine,
Oh.
but I guess it broke right before earlier than we were sitting around here tonight. I guess Kit Harington's going to be in the Eternals along with Angelina Jolie and,
Yeah.
Ew.
Selma Hayek.
Angelina Jolie just needs to stop.
Yeah, but if you know that Eternals character though,
Yeah, but
she's
your
actually good for
politics
the role.
align,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, she'll be good in that role.
And I haven't noticed anything, but what about Keanu?
Bill and Ted, I'm excited
Kidding.
for that.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're doing a live action Lady and the Tramp, which I'm excited for too.
Yeah, that's going to be in Disney Plus.
I'll be impressed if they do a Fantasia live action.
Well, I know Marvel's been talking to Keanu
Don't
a
get
lot
my
about
hopes
finding a role for him.
Right.
But I don't know if Wolverine will be the answer for Keanu, or just something.
No.
But
Because there was that interview years and years
Yeah.
ago where he was like, "This would be my dream role, but
Yeah.
it'll probably never happen."
especially, I mean, he's older than Hugh Jackman now at this point. So
Yeah.
would ever happen? But Keanu Reeves has mentioned many times he would love to be in the MCU, and I wouldn't be surprised at some point if they find a role for him in something.
He'll play
Right.
Professor X.
Professor X.
No.
You can't cut his hair though.
No, you're right.
His hair is his style.
Yeah,
it's for John
right.
Wick 4.
Gotcha.
You
He has the lifetime.
Well, by then it'd be like John Wick 50.
know, right?
He has the lifetime guarantee up for his hair. I'm so jealous of him.
That's awesome. But they also announced more Disney Plus TV shows. We're going to get She-Hulk,
She-Hulk,
Miss-
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Miss Marvel,
Miss Marvel.
and Moon Knight, which is Marvel's
yeah.
version
me
of
and
Batman.
Long were talking about She-Hulk, like, because Captain Marvel kind of opened the door for Secret Invasion, and
Mm-hmm.
She-Hulk plays a huge role in that, and I'm waiting to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
Because they need to do Secret Invasion, because I have every comic that is Secret Invasion.
And at Comic-Con they announced Phase 4 next year's films and Disney Plus shows, but these I guess are a little further off. She-Hulk is a couple years away because they're still in early development. So
Well, I can see why they're kind of waiting on that though, because look at all the two things. One, they have not done a successful Hulk standalone movie yet. Two, any female-led Marvel movie lately has been getting shit on because you get these incel trolls. But I mean, like, I can see why they're really working hard to develop everything and
Yeah.
make
it's
sure
made
it's done right.
$800 million. So
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay,
it's like a.
it's not just MCU though, because like you look at who is the chick that played Rose in the Star Wars?
Yeah.
Like she had to get off
Kelly
of social
Marie
media
Tran.
because of these people.
Yeah.
Like she had to quit social media.
Yeah.
And like the chick,
It's a very vocal minority.
Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Like she's gotten a ton of shit just for how she played Captain Marvel, even though that's who Captain Marvel is. Like she was too character, and they still gave her shit because she was too independent.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm the only female voice in the room, so I gotta say something.
And then
I like Wonder Woman better.
Shut up.
and then
Captain Marvel's
I'm
way
so
better.
glad that DC was the first to bring out Wonder Woman before the MCU brought out Captain Marvel, because it's kind of...
Was Valkyrie in before Wonder Woman though? No, after.
the movies came out the same year, but yeah.
Valkyrie is better in my opinion, even though she has a smaller role. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Wonder Woman. I love Gal Gadot, but if you want to look at true feminine icon, look at who played. Oh, what's that chick's name? She played Wonder Woman in the original show.
Oh,
Linda Carter.
Yeah, and like for me, it's like, as a female or as a woman, they kind of overplayed their hand with Wonder Woman. Like they were making it too obvious that they were going towards that feminist kind of thing. Now, granted, it was really cool because, like you said, they hadn't really had a strong female lead in the comic universe, or DC or MCU at that point. They hadn't had a strong enough female lead, but they, like, looking back, like, Captain Marvel, she was just the stoic character and she just did her thing, did her business, got out. Whereas, like, with Wonder Woman, they, like, made it a point to be like, look, we're feminist icons,
Not
like,
really.
I thought so.
No.
For me.
It was, to me, my perspective was she was more of a humanitarian.
Well, you can be humanitarian, but...
she wasn't like, and she did not at all, to me, downplay the role of, the male characters. They were all equals to her.
I'm not saying she downplayed the male characters, but I think at the same time, they kind of really focused on, like her strong, like a lot of the key moments in the film, I felt like they lingered a little much, and that was just to kind of show, like, hey, she's a strong woman. Hey, she, and it's like you get that without the need for all of this, overture about it, and it's, I don't know. Like, to me, Captain Marvel didn't parade it around like they did with Wonder Woman. That's just me. But I mean, like, I'm that's just my perspective.
Yeah.
I mean,
for me, I felt like she was like, hey, we're on the same team, and let's just kick evil's ass.
Well, no.
That's
she
to
was.
Me, yeah.
She was. I'm not talking about like character interplay. I'm talking about production choices, like the way they would shoot scenes, the way they would do dialogue. And it wasn't even it wasn't that she was downplaying the male characters. It was just the shots they chose to highlight, the shots that they chose to, or the dialogue that they chose to highlight. Like, it was just kind of overplayed. Like, when it first came out, don't get me wrong, it was amazing. I loved that fucking movie. But then after watching Captain Marvel and showing how they were more focused on the story rather than look how badass this female character is, that's where I was like, okay, I can see where they fucked up on Wonder Woman now. And it's like, that's just me, though. But I prefer MCU anyway. But,
I still like the No Man's Land sequence in Wonder Woman. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, the director fought tooth and nail to keep that scene in that movie. And I'm glad they kept it because, like Doctor Strange, when he finally revealed himself as, the superhero, accepted his role, he was wearing his cape, and all of a sudden the cape gets in front of his face, trying to be all funny about it. Kind of ruined the heroic scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in Wonder Woman, they didn't undercut any of that heroism at all. She was like, yeah, it might be cheesy, but damn it, she's a hero.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not saying they should have undercut it. It's just like all these little undertones on certain parts of the movie.
Yeah.
It was just like at the time, like I said, the first huge female heroine that wasn't dependent on a man to create her story. And I still respect that movie for that because it opened the door for MCU to have Captain Marvel and all this other stuff. But watching how
stuff like She-Hulk and Miss Marvel
watching
come out now,
how the differences between Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman, I really think they did a better job with Captain Marvel just because they're not reliant on feminism to push the narrative of the movie.
Yeah.
You're more focused on how she plays into the Marvel universe and she's a strong character, so that's going to come through. But they're not relying on feminism to push the movie, whereas Wonder Woman was relying on feminism to push the movie.
Yeah, for me, what I was getting at when I was saying that I was glad that DC Films came out with Wonder Woman first was because in the comics, history of comics, Wonder Woman was the first popular female superhero.
No, and I'm really glad. Don't get me
so.
wrong. I'm not shitting on Wonder Woman. I fucking love it. We own that movie.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's one of my daughter's favorite movies. It's one of my favorite movies.
She's a great gateway superhero too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like she really
like Superman was.
Like I said, she spawned how MCU did Valkyrie and more character development for Valkyrie in the later films, and really paved the way for movies like Captain Marvel and like the new Star Wars movies, you know, stuff like that. It really it gave an idea of how you can have strong female characters in cinema. And I think that that's important, and it deserves its recognition for that. But at the same time, as far as like feminist movies, I prefer Captain Marvel because you're not relying on the social movement to push the narrative of the film.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Sorry for the tangent there. I have to defend my Wonder Woman camp.
No,
here.
I love Wonder Woman. Like I've got a bunch of Wonder Woman stuff, you know, and like I've got a lot of Captain Marvel stuff. It's just like as a social movement, it doesn't need to be used as a pawn to push a movie. And I like the way I appreciate more Captain Marvel because it's not like using it as a driving force, like I said. So that's just me.
Got a lot of Star Wars news.
Sorry.
We have been confirmed that Ewan McGregor is going to come back and play Obi-Wan.
Yes, I'm so excited for that.
I kind of wish this was a movie, but I get what they're doing. You know, it's a Disney Plus TV
10
show.
hours of him. So
yeah, it's going to be. It's not going to be. It's not going to be like The Mandalorian, which we'll talk about in a minute. Which is going to be an ongoing series. This is just going to be like a limit. They did announce it's going to be like a limited series, so it's probably just going to run one season. And we're going to get to see what Obi-Wan was up to after Revenge of the Sith. I think 3 years. After Revenge of the Sith is what they were saying.
So kind of like the interim between Anakin and meeting Luke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get to see what he's up to on Tatooine, I guess, as he's after keeping an eye on young Luke while he's there with Uncle Ben and everything.
We get to see his transformation into old Ben.
Yeah.
The actor is going to hate shooting out in the desert.
But this is
miserable.
cool news, though, man. Ewan McGregor coming back. I mean, because he was arguably one of the best parts of the prequels. I mean, he was so good as a young
I bet you he's looking forward to not seeing green screen because he was complaining about how much green screen there was. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they tend to be doing a lot more stuff with practical effects now, especially the Star Wars stuff.
Just to rep our state, West Texas has desert. You can film there.
But I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Obi-Wan. Clone Wars is coming back in February on Disney Plus. Clone Wars Season 7 is going to hit. And not only that, all Star Wars content is going to be available on Disney Plus in February. Woo! All the films, all the Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, all that stuff, including they even said Rise of Skywalker, which is that even going to be out on DVD by February? Maybe they're just going to say that.
No,
it'll probably be out same day that it's Blu-ray. I bet is what they're saying.
How about the holiday special?
Because everyone's clamoring for that. Well, I would love to have the old Droids animated series at least. I would watch those. Or what about the Ewok movies?
Oh, yeah.
Caravan of Courage.
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Yeah. These were TV movies.
Yeah. Some bad Star Wars history there.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited for Clone Wars. That was actually
I'm a Trekkie, too.
A really good... Clone Wars was a really excellent animated series. So, and there were a lot of loose threads left in that. So we'll see what they do with Season 7 of that show.
Oh, did you know they're doing an animated Star Wars or Star Trek?
Yes.
With Tawny Newsome?
Yeah.
She's going to be on the cast. I don't know if you listen to Yo, Is This Racist, but that's a really good podcast that she's a co-host on.
No, I haven't. But I know that the animated series I'm looking forward to. And it's canon.
And it's a comedy.
And it's canon.
I'm so excited. I want to see Star Trek as a comedy. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
They haven't released any release dates or anything. But
wait a minute. What's your favorite Star Trek series?
The OG.
Oh, really?
Yes.
My personal favorite is Deep Space Nine.
With Shatner. And Leonard Nimoy, of course.
For people that can't see that, because they're listening to it, Lynsie just did a Shatner move. She was like, it's really funny. And but the big news this weekend at D23 was the Mandalorian trailer. Mm-hmm. Finally got to look at it. It's going to hit November 12th when Disney Plus comes out on all our wonderful streaming devices we have.
My crush, Gina Carano's in it.
Man, Carl Weathers is in this. Mm-hmm. IG-88 is in this.
Yeah, Werner Herzog, famous German director.
Giancarlo Esposito is in it, who is
Yeah.
Gus in Breaking Bad, excellent actor. This actually kind of surprised my expectations as I watched the trailer. I was like, wow,
Yeah,
this
I saw a
looks
glimpse of
way
them. Yeah.
fucking better than I thought it was going to look.
It looks like
Yeah.
a damn movie.
Yeah. It looks badass as hell. I mean, we live, there's a lot of people that are complaining about what Disney has done with Star Wars, but fuck that, man. We live in a world where we're getting a bounty hunting television show set in the Star Wars universe. How fucking cool is that for all his
Written
kids?
by Jon Favreau.
Yeah, for all his kids that grew up watching Boba Fett, wanting to be Boba Fett, and thinking how cool he was. We're getting this, people. Be excited about it.
Well, maybe
But it's
you
not
were, but
Boba
I'm not.
Fett.
Well, you know what? Jon Favreau keeps going out of his way to say Boba Fett's not in this, which makes me think that sometime we're down the line, 4 or 5 seasons into this, The Mandalorian is Boba Fett. And they're just trying to keep it secret. Because why would Favreau keep going out of his way to like, oh, it's not Boba Fett, it's not Boba Fett. It's probably
Because
fucking
it's
Boba
not
Fett.
Boba Fett.
But,
He doesn't want to disappoint
but
you.
the trailer, though, he talks just like the clones did.
Yes.
So his Mandalorian's a
But there's
clone,
more
whoever
than
he
one.
is.
It doesn't have to be the Boba Fett.
I know, but I just think it makes the most
Let's
sense.
not forget
I
that
mean,
Boba
they're
Fett went out
clones.
like a bitch in Return of the Jedi.
Well, and this takes place after Return of the Jedi, about 3 or 4 years after. So,
So it's not Boba Fett.
could be.
No.
Well, the Sarlacc pit is known to digest their victims for 900 years.
Oh, come on.
Did you watch the trailer, Sam?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
I
Fucking
absolutely
conspiracy
loved it.
theory.
Yeah, I think it looks badass.
It does look good. Cammy's excited.
Looks like a movie.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that said the character right at the end of the trailer is a live-action Hondo from the Clone Wars and Rebels. It's hard to tell because it's kind of shadowy, but that would be cool if they brought a cartoon character into live action.
Sure.
It does look a lot like Hondo.
I've never seen Clone Wars.
Yeah, so
I
it
don't
could
know.
be. But
But I mean, I'm not caught up on all this stuff like y'all are.
You will
okay,
once you have your
Slacker.
Disney Plus subscription.
Yay! Well, we were actually thinking about that because we were going to get it anyway, but now that they have the ESPN, and I watch hockey,
Yeah.
and they also have Hulu, which we already have, we're probably going to get that.
Rebels is excellent. It's not just a cartoon. Star Wars Rebels is one of the best things they've done in the last 5 years.
Now, that's
It
that
is-
really blockily animated one, right?
I mean, I guess it's kind of blockily, but it's
Yeah.
really good.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, the styles, like,
yeah,
real
I had a
blocky.
kind of different style. Yeah.
Okay.
But man, it was so well done. That was a really good series.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, that's all the news I got.
All right, ghost stories time.
So we had an inside joke where a couple weeks ago we were propping y'all's show and we had mentioned that we were trying to get you on the show. Long like basically threw you under the table and said she's got to bring us a ghost story. So
Yeah.
now you have to
What
deliver.
prompted me to say that?
I don't know,
forget.
but no pressure.
Because he was telling you that we do paranormal stuff.
Yeah, but I forgot. It was like I
don't know.
was supposed to do something for.
Because we were talking shit through him anyway.
Oh yeah.
Because, just to clear it up with everyone, I was talking about the newer challengers, not the older challengers. Mark miscommunicated my intention. So Long was all mad at me for nothing.
Well, I mean, the thing was that when you said that this is through Mark, it's like this is through Mark's. What are we talking about? It's like, oh yeah, Lynsie says that Challenger,
The Cuda.
the Cuda.
Cuda.
Oh, no, wait, we were talking about a car, but you said that
Because you were talking about your model challenger, and I assumed,
Oh.
like a dummy, that it was the new ones,
Yeah.
not the old one. And
Yeah.
I was like, Challenger sucked. Tell him I said Challenger sucked.
Yeah.
Because I had a 13 Challenger, and that thing was shitty.
yeah.
And I was like, I like Cudas.
Yeah,
I would like
and then
them to
Mark
bring
said,
back
"Well,
a Cuda.
yeah," and then Mark says, "Well, she says the Cuda's cooler," and then me and Matt
It's
was
the
like,
same
"It's
body."
the same body.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the same company. What's she talking about?" And we were
No.
throwing her under the bus because
I am
Mark
talking
was
about
like,
the new one. Mark,
Yeah.
you fucked it up.
I'm sorry.
that "We cleared the air.
yes,
we cleared the
did.
air.
We're
That's
cool
the
now.
most important thing.
We're cool.
Yeah. Except for
Okay.
the Miss Marvel versus Wonder Woman thing.
Shut
No,
We're in agreement. They're both good.
They're
I
great.
just prefer Captain
awesome.
Marvel. But okay, so we have 2 ghost stories for you today. One's my personal one. So when I was a kid, we were staying with my grandma, and I had never met my grandfather. I only knew my grandma, right? So I'm playing in my room one day, and the way my room's set up is you can see down the hallway to the cross hallway. It kind of made like a T, right? And the T ended at the other bedroom, so you can see the door. But I was playing in my room, and you know how like you'll see stuff out of the corner of your eye, and then when you look and it's like not there, or whatever. Well, I see something out of the corner of my eye, and I can barely make out the shape. It looks like a person walking by, right? And I look up and I don't see anything, and then all of a sudden this man in a suit walks by, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's going back to the back of the hallway, which is where the master was. So there's no exit out of the house that way. It's just, it dead ends in a bedroom. So I'm like, what the hell? So I go and look, and I'm like, hello? You know, because I'm like little and I'm scared, and so I go back in there, and there's no one in there, and I'm like, fuck, you know. So my grandma, when she gets
as a little
home,
kid, fuck.
Yeah, well, you know, I've always had a sailor mouth, but anyway, but no, like, I kind of forget about it, because, you know, I'm a kid, kids get distracted and forget things, and, like, years later, my grandma's really sick, and she passed in '07.
Yeah.
But she was really sick, and we were going through old family photos, and she was kind of explaining, because, you know, my mom didn't care about any of that stuff, so she was letting us know, so that when we get these photographs, we knew who everybody was. And she was going through and marking names on the back. You know how grandmas do. We come across this wedding photo. It's her and my grandpa. And I'm like, who is this? You know, because I'd never seen him before, never met him in person, except for when I was, like, in the hospital as a baby, but that's, you know I have memory. And this guy's wearing the same suit that I saw this man wearing. Same, everything. The exact same. And she's like, that's your grandpa. And I'm like, no shit. Well, I didn't say that, but, you know. But I'm like,
she's
no
on
shit.
her sick bed. Yeah.
But, you know, like, no shit. You know, so I saw my grandpa before I even knew who it was. And it was, like, really spooky.
Did you tell your grandma that?
Yeah.
And what'd she say?
She was like, no. Because she was very Christian, so she's like, no.
You know, it's kind of funny, though. I mean, like, a lot of organized religion always talks about the afterlife, but when you talk about experiences like that
supernatural,
too, it's so weird that they don't want to acknowledge it.
They believe in a fake sky daddy, but then they can't believe in a ghost. It's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of contradictory.
It is very,
Yeah.
because, like, I mean, you think they have the Holy Spirit? Like, what is that to you then?
I have a very quick story. My mom knew a nun that, because my mom works with the church a lot, that had this man she was praying for and everything, and because he had no family, and he was really worried that he was going to have, you know, no one to be there for him when he goes, and he eventually passed, and the nun says that this man appeared to her and said that, hey, I just wanted you to know I'm okay, and everything, after he passed away, and it totally changed her beliefs of what she thought in the church and everything she was taught. She still continued to be a nun and do the work, but she did her work in a different way, because, like you said, she was taught to not believe in that kind of afterlife stuff, but and this is a nun, a woman of faith, and she saw this, and it's like, how do you take that? So, but yeah, but
I did get little bonus story. This isn't the second story, but this is a little bonus story. So about 4 years ago, I took a vacation in October time to Salem and Boston and all that, and we went and did the Salem Haunted Tour. And have y'all seen Hocus Pocus? The Three Witches, the Disney movie?
I know of it.
Okay, so you know the little blonde girl, you know, like her big white house that they go into and it's all decked out and cool? So, like, that's in Salem, like, and we went to that house, and we couldn't go in because someone was living there, but we got to go in the back garden.
Yeah.
And apparently there's, like, a bench in that back garden that's haunted, and I snapped some photos, and I got pictures of orbs. I have them on my phone. I'll show y'all
cool.
when we're done recording. But that's a little
spiritual
bonus story.
orbs.
Spiritual orbs.
Yeah. My, you know, the Asian culture, a lot of Asian culture, we do anniversaries for our deceased relatives.
Like death day anniversaries kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah. So every time we get visitors in the house, they always say the house gives off creepy vibes. So, yeah. But, you know, sometimes when I'm at my parents' house, there's always, like, weird sounds I would hear. Like, just nothing.
So, like ancestors or something visiting?
Nothing that dramatic. More like random sounds around the house.
Okay, record them next time because I need to hear these.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
No, if it's like
either random
though,
sounds or something I see in the corner of my eye.
Seriously though, if you have any really cool stories, like, feel free to drop us an audio clip or an email because we'll put it on our show. It'll be really fun. Or we can have you guest on an episode too because we're actually going to be talking about some more spooky stuff come October. We have big October. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
But okay, so
your second story.
My second story.
This is for the audience.
The cell phone.
Who was
We're gonna
phone?
bring it into the no, not who was phone. If you listen to the last podcast on the left, they have a creepy pasta that they do. But it's really funny. Anyway, A single mother bought a new cell phone. After a long day of work,
Is this based on a true story?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, sort of.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it is. Because I actually got this off the internet. I'm not going to lie. Someone was describing their cousin. So, in the context of this person telling the story. So, a couple months ago, my friend's cousin, a single mother, bought a new cell phone. After a long day of work, she came home, placed her phone on the counter, and went to watch TV. Her son came to her and asked if he could play with her new phone. She told him not to call anyone or mess with text messages, and he agreed. At around 11:20, she was drowsy, so she decided to tuck her son in and go to bed. She walked to his room and saw that he wasn't there. She then ran over to her room to find him sleeping on her bed with the phone in his hand. Relieved, she picked her phone back up from his hand to inspect it. Browsing through it, she noticed only minor changes, such as a new background, banner, etc. You know, like random shit kids do. But then she opened up her saved pictures. She began deleting the pictures he had taken until only one new picture remained. When she first saw it, she was in disbelief. It was her son sleeping on her bed, but the picture was taken by someone else above him, and it showed the left half of an elderly woman's face. Ooh.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So don't let your kids take pictures on their phone. On your phone.
Kids are never touching.
Trying to go to sleep. My personal rule is always try to sleep well before 3:15 in the morning.
Is that
Why?
the magic time?
That's the witching hour.
Witching
The
hour?
witching hour. It's like it doesn't matter if it's no matter what time zone you live in. I don't care about time
Stayed
zones.
up till 3:15 in
Yeah.
10 years.
It's like thank you the Exorcism Emily Rose.
Yeah.
I remember I was sleeping in bed. I was in the middle of my sleep, and my girlfriend at that time woke me up in the middle of the night at 3:15 in the morning exactly, and she says, "Long, I think there's something in the kitchen. Go check it out." I was like, "I'm not checking anything out. I am trying to sleep." You know?
I make him do it.
Yeah. And
He's more of a skeptic than I am, so I
Yeah.
make him do it.
and if you believe in that, just pray it away. Just pray it away.
Burn some incense.
Yeah, but-
I got some sage.
yeah. It was kind of funny though. There were some weird stuff that happened a couple of nights after watching that movie, Emily Rose. Like
save
just
it for
weird,
our podcast.
random noises. We know we have cats at that time.
Oh,
you
we got a
know.
kitty.
Yeah.
Oh, so one cool thing. This is just a little preview because our Patreon episode that
Yeah.
we have, we do monthly bonus ones on ours, and our next one's on ghost cats.
Oh.
So there's an old superstition about tabby cats.
Hmm.
So a true tabby will have an M made by their stripes on their forehead.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen those? Okay, so
the M shape on their foreheads.
yes.
Yeah.
So our cat's name is Meowser. He's a tabby. He has an M.
Yeah.
And we call him the Mighty Meowser because he has the big M on his bed.
Yeah.
So he's like a superhero. It's really cool. But in Islamic culture, or specifically like Middle Eastern cultures, it's believed that the Prophet Muhammad, one of his favorite animals was a tabby. He had a tabby. And one day he blessed the cat by placing his hand on his forehead, and that's why he has the M on his forehead for Muhammad.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But that's just a preview of our Ghost Cats episode. I'm super excited about it.
Ghost
But you gotta be a
cats.
patron.
Cats are already creepy enough.
Oh, you're a patron.
I did join your
Yes.
Patreon. And we are going to launch ours soon.
Yay.
I'm shooting.
Yes, I'm gonna help you with that because you get an RSS feed and everything.
Yeah, I'm working on setting it up. Be launching it soon. Hopefully mid-September, October launch, I think is the goal since it's already August's almost done already. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, we've got big plans because like we're normally bi-weekly. Our podcast is so like every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But for October, we're doing one once a week and then an extra on Halloween. So we're gonna have 7 episodes for the month of October.
Busy. So,
Man, so how long are we clocking in, Mark?
and we are getting close to the record of our longest episode ever.
Oh,
Because
really?
we're awesome. Dude.
Our longest episode ever, I think, was episode 100, which was almost 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
we're getting, but
Let's push it.
but we're almost done. But thank you
I
for the
had
ghost
fun.
stories.
Today was
Yeah.
really
That was
fun.
Yeah.
You know,
And we're more than happy to share
And,
any other.
and well, so next week's show we are going back into 1956, a old classic film. We go from doing a rated R movie this week to a G. I don't think have we done a G-rated film on the show. It's a G.
Not since
It's a G-rated film. I don't think
back
we've done
in the
one.
day, it might not have been G. Well, they didn't have ratings in the 50s, so.
But we're doing Forbidden
Right.
Planet.
Imagine yourself as one of the crew of this faster-than-light spaceship of the future, sharing their curiosity to know the unknown, their tension, their readiness for inconceivable adventures.
Sir, we're being radar scanned. United Planets Cruiser C-57D, J.J. Adams commanding. Who are you?
Morbius of the Bellerophon.
Well, Dr. Morbius, my orders are to survey the situation on Altair 4.
Commander, if you set down on this planet, I warn you that I cannot be answerable for the safety of your ship or your crew.
When you reach the Forbidden Planet, you will meet Dr. Morbius, played by Walter Pidgeon. The Doctor is sole owner of this fabulous world. Anne Francis is his alluring daughter, Alta, who has never seen a young man till she meets Commander Adams, played by talented Leslie Nielsen.
Come on in.
Didn't bring my bathing suit.
What's a bathing suit?
Oh, murder.
You will meet a charming character in The Robot, able to produce on order 10 tons of lead or a slinky evening gown. Always at your service.
You must be the loveliest, softest thing you've ever made for me. And fit in all the right places. With lots and lots of star sapphires.
Star sapphires take a week to crystallize properly. Would diamond or emeralds do?
You explore all the wonders of a vanished civilization. You travel deep down into the heart of the Forbidden Planet to discover the incredible marvels of this lost genius race. These magnificent scenes in striking Eastman color stagger the imagination.
20 miles. Look down, gentlemen. Are you afraid? 7,800 level.
Yet the wonders of the planet Altair 4 conceal a strange and evil force, unknown, irresistible.
Which is a all-time classic. It inspired Star Trek, inspired Star Wars.
Yeah.
Almost any sci-fi film that's ever came out today, or any director that's directed a film, watched this movie as a kid and probably was like, "That's why I want to direct movies."
Mm-hmm.
I just rewatched it last week because I knew we were doing this on the show, and it's awesome. It holds up really well. It's amazing special effects for 1956.
Have you seen Plan 9 from Outer Space? It's got the Pyra.
I have. I could not last 40 minutes. I couldn't.
It's so good, though.
I was watching it. I can't. This is really bad. You know.
I thought it was amazing.
I've never turned off a movie before finishing it. Yeah.
Because you need to be in the right mood.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the mood.
You do. Like I tried.
I wanted to watch it with my then girlfriend.
Well, because I watched Forbidden Planet, I wanted to watch Invader from Mars, another old fat, and it was hard to watch after watching Forbidden Planet. You have to
the 80s Invaders.
No,
from Mars?
the 60s version. You do have to be in a certain mood sometimes to watch those sci-fi
older
schlock
sci-fi, yeah.
classics. Yeah.
Especially when like they get cheesy, like Plan 9, and they want to put Vampira in the middle of it.
But then there's some like the Day the Ursa's still is still really good even years later. So it just depends on the movie.
Dracula and Vampira.
Yeah.
They're both in it.
That's right. There's a weird vampire in that Plan 9 film.
In the cockpit that's like barely holding together while they're flying a plane, you know? Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then there's zombies and aliens and it's just very weird, but it's good. And it's free on Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah.
So download this.
Yeah.
Again.
Forbidden Planet was supposed to be free on Prime. It wasn't working on my Prime, so maybe it's on Prime.
Forbidden Planet.
So people can tag along.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Watch next
I
week.
want to watch that. It looks good.
It's good stuff. So that's next week's episode.
Inspired by Shakespeare's Tempest. The Tempest.
Is it?
Yes.
Have y'all
theater.
seen have y'all seen...
You'll appreciate it for that. You'll see elements of the Tempest.
Have y'all seen the movie The Tempest?
With Helen Mirren?
I think so.
There's one that they
not that
flip
great.
they flip the
it's not that great.
genders.
It's not that great.
No.
But no, this was fun.
Yes.
For us, go to the rebelradiopodcast.com, and we're on all apps also. Look at Home of the Strange. Y'all don't have a website set up, you do yet?
No, we're working
on that. We've been talking,
we're working on getting a source page.
But right now, you can find Home of the Strange podcast on all apps and everything, and join y'all's Patreon.
Yeah, we have a Patreon. Also, Twitter, we're Home Strange Pod, or at Home Strange Pod. We're also on Facebook. We have a Facebook group called We're Horrible, and we just kind of talk about horror there.
Yep.
And then we have our page on Facebook. And then Sam set up our Instagram, but she needs to get on top of.
That is true. I need to get more onto the Instagrams.
Quit slacking, Sam.
That is true.
But thank you guys for coming. This was awesome.
Thank
Glad
you
I
for
did
having
my
us.
face up then.
I got a quick jingle.
What's up?
You have a quick jingle?
Home on the strange.
Okay, I
where
need
the
to copy
spirits
that.
and the goblins they range.
I love it. That needs to be
Leave
on
it too long to bring the jingle.
Hey, re-record that next time because I want to use that for our theme song. No, I'm serious. I'll put some cool music behind it.
He'll perfect it. He'll bring it. We'll record it for sure.
Awesome.
That's
Deal.
funny.
Yeah,
Deal.
let's improvise.
Yeah.
But that's all I got. Anybody else have anything? That's it.
I'm
all
good.
I'm good.
Thank you for being on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a very
Sam
fun
and Lynsie.
conversation.
Spay
I had
and
a
neuter
great
your
time.
pets.
This isn't The Price is Right.
$1, Bob.
Hey, he was trending the other day because people thought he died. It was some guy that looked like him. Did you see the alligator video? Putting the blanket
really?
on the
Oh,
alligator.
yeah.
Ridiculous.
Because of fucking Happy Gilmore. He
Yeah.
died that way in Happy Gilmore.
Right. So yeah, it was pretty funny.
Jesus.
But,
No, I love Price is Right.
Yeah.
I watch that with my grandma a lot. That and Hollywood Squares.
But
Anyway, I had a great time, guys. Thanks for having us.
oh no problem. Thank you all.
Blast.
Even if you had to drive, 500 miles across
I
Houston.
think this is the most talkative Sam's been on a podcast
Has
so
it?
far. Well, no, he hosted our Denver International Airport one,
And see,
and he's hosting our next
because,
episode.
Longhorn Tool fans, he's able to open up. Yeah.
Why don't you marry him?
But
Anyway,
this has been the Rebel Radio Podcast. Thank you all for listening. And thank you, Sam and Lynsie, again for coming on the show. Home of the Strange Podcast. Go check it out.
bye-bye.
And as always, remember, just go there and do it.
Do it. I'll kill you.
Hey, you're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast. My name is Sean Patrick Flannery, and I hope you dig the podcast.
Sam Jones, Flash Gordon, and this is Rebel Radio Podcast.